Aloha and welcome to Trust and Verify, the show famous for telling you don't trust us, verify everything you hear. Before we can get to another great show, I got to introduce my friend, my partner, my co-host, Boogie Bumper. Boogie, how's it going?
Good, James. Good. Thanks for having us. Long time no see, my friend. The stereotypical, professionals here at tavshow.com. I just want to give the fans, people who have joined us live, James, for this live recording of this podcast, a little bit of a rundown what's happened over the last week. Do you want to do the show today? Yeah, sure, no problem. By the way, I can't do the show today. No worries. Do you want to do the show tomorrow? Yeah, okay, we'll do it tomorrow. By the way, I can't do the show tomorrow. Okay, let's do it on Friday. No, we can't do it on Friday either. So that's generally been our up and down for the previous week, but I think we're going to, for the short time anyway, stick to today. By the way, guys, if you can, please share out the show, tweet out the link. Thanks for joining us. A couple of things to go over, James. The new normal in terms of democratic norms. We're going to get stuck into that. Did you know Donald Trump's been destroying democratic norms, James? Well, he's got a new contender who's joining him in the race, so I'm looking forward to digging into that. Plus Kavanaugh, Ms. Susan Collins, and a little bit of new intel drops, perhaps.
All right, we'll be right back with that, folks.
Friend and foe alike, join me, Varun Prasad, every week on the Common Discourse Weekly Roundup podcast. You can follow the show on @TCDTweet on Twitter and Periscope. Subscribe to the show on YouTube, Stream Me, iTunes, or your preferred podcast platform. If you like what you hear, or you would like to express your raging discontent, please consider leaving us a review. The Common Discourse, independent political opinion, thought, and analysis for the people, by the people.
Aloha and welcome back. Just a point of reference today so that you know why I'm not responding to you. It's because I can't see you. I am having a little tiny problem and I don't want it to screw up our show, so I am not watching the chat. But the ever intrepid Boogie is taking care of the chat comments today, so he'll let me know if you guys say anything brilliant.
Everything our fans say is brilliant, James. That's 101 with fan engagement there. I want to get into, if I can, this idea of the new normal, James, and the new political environment that we're operating in. Here's a little article I came across the other day on one of my personal favorites, James, Slate, of course. The limits of Obama's legacy. The former president's message still has power, but his ideas are no longer sufficient. He's not socialist enough. I think that's the undertone there. That's the subtext to that. He's not enough of an activist. Since the end of World War II, an informal rule has existed in American politics. Ex-presidents don't play partisan against their successors. Truman didn't campaign against Eisenhower. Eisenhower didn't speak out against Kennedy. Johnson left the game under Nixon. Carter left Reagan in peace. This contributed to uninterrupted into the 21st century. But in a speech on Friday at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, former President Barack Obama broke with tradition to criticize the current White House occupant and urge Americans to impose accountability at the ballot box. Quote, "In a healthy democracy, there's some checks and balances on this kind of behavior," Obama said of President Trump and the Republican Party. "But right now, there's nothing." Obama's solution for the opponents of the administration and its enablers is to vote. This whole project of self-government only works if everybody's doing their part. Don't tell me your vote doesn't matter. Now, before I go back to you, James, here's something that I found interesting. You've got to give credit where it's due, I think. This was in the Washington Post, of all places. Look who's shattering presidential norms now. When Barack Obama took the oath of office as president in 2009, George W. Bush wished him well and left the political stage, determined to never publicly criticize his successor. It is a vow he kept for the entire 8 years of Obama's presidency. Indeed, Bush has given only one political speech since leaving office, and that was for his brother, Jeb, Low Energy Jeb, in 2016. Even when Obama attacked him repeatedly from the presidential bully pulpit and reversed many of his policies, Bush kept silent. I don't think it's good for the country to have a former president undermine a current president, he said. I want the president to succeed. He deserves my silence. Bush did it not simply as a courtesy. He understood better than almost anyone the incredible pressures of the presidency and felt it was his moral duty not to make the job any harder. So he adhered to that standard of grace and decency to which all former presidents should aspire. Repeat, this is from the known right-wing, extreme right-wing website, James, the Washington Post. For a while, it seemed that Obama, the beneficiary of Bush's grace and decency, would follow the 43rd president's example. But a little more than 18 months after leaving office, Obama has apparently decided he is too important to stay on the sidelines. The reason I wanted to bring these articles up, James, a common, would you say, accusation, a common critique of Donald Trump, his supporters, and, you know, the party under Donald Trump is Donald Trump is shattering norms. Donald Trump is attacking all of the traditions and norms that we hold dear in American politics. Now, if you just look at the Kavanaugh hearings, for example, and we'll touch on that a little bit later, there's an example of shattering norms. President Barack Obama going on the campaign trail for the midterms, there's an example of shattering norms. How do you think this stuff plays out? And, the voters like seeing this with some cynicism, or is it going the other way? And they're like, yeah, it's about time Barack Obama stuck the boot into President Trump's guts. Which way do you think it's going to play out?
I think snafu. I think this is all systems normal. I think the Democrats are still partisan and the Republicans are tired of listening to them. I think that it's the same. Nothing has changed at all. I think you can look at what they're both doing, not just Obama, but also Biden. Biden literally just called Trump supporters the dregs of society. All 70 million of us are now the dregs of society. So these people are fighting because they know what we know. That they're in deep doo-doo, that they broke a lot of laws, that there is a lot of hammer coming, that they are in trouble. And so they had to bring out the every gun. Everybody's fighting for every single scrap of it. And you know what the funny thing is that nothing's going to change. You got one Washington Post article out there that's saying, hey, why didn't you shut your mouth? Well, guess what? They're going to blame that on Trump too. It's going to be Trump's fault because Trump was so bad that Obama just couldn't follow the traditions of the past and had to speak up because it was on him. It was his moral duty to speak up for all of the normal, sane people in America. Those 70 million dregs of society can't be allowed to speak. They can't be given that free speech. They can't be allowed to ascertain that they are all in deep trouble.
Yeah, he's a hero, James. He has to do it for the people. For the real people. Remember, Hillary won the popular vote. So really, he's doing this for the majority of Americans. He's standing up for minorities everywhere. You know, this evil oppressor, Donald Trump, who likes to say, give press passes to bloggers and independent websites in the press rooms, James. You know, this guy who hates the free press, who attacks the free press, without angels riding on our shoulders like Barack Obama. What kind of tyranny, what kind of dictatorship hell could the United States fall into? See, that's the thing I think that's, you know, what some people on the Republican side who probably weren't fans of Donald Trump from the beginning fail to understand. There's a lot of talk like, well, if Donald Trump behaves this way, then you're just welcoming that same behavior from the Democrats. Guys, they're going to do it anyway. Like, they don't need a green light.
Yeah,
they're already doing it right now, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, they prove it over and over and over again. I mean, look, we cannot allow ourselves to restrict ourselves. This is not the time for that. The time of normal politics in America left when we found out that our previous administrations, that's a plural, have been corrupt and that they have been screwing us repeatedly. And that this is not just a feeling now. Now we have documentation. Now we have video evidence. Now we have our administration exposing this to the public. And that's not just our administration. We have our congressmen and senators joining along to help us expose the fact that our prior administrations were corrupt. So we're here to clean house. We cannot, at this point in time, if you don't want to see this go any further than cleaning house through the legal means of the Department of Justice, then you need to stop limiting yourself. You need to exercise the First Amendment in all its forms. That means memeing them to death. That means doing these types of vlog rather. That means doing shows. That means writing about it everywhere and then spreading the message no matter what. Even stuff I don't agree with, I will retweet often because it still sends the message to the left that they need to realize that they poked the bear one too many times and now the bear's awake.
Yeah, the other thing too is like everyone I think is more aware of spin now. And sometimes like the point of the spin and the point of political rhetoric is to get you caught up in a frame of thinking that takes you away from reality in a sense, right? Like to a degree. Here's the thing. Barack Obama wouldn't be doing this if the Democrats were doing as well as the media tells you they are. If they were absolutely going to sail to victory in the midterms, if there was going to be a blue wave, if they were going to absolutely take back the Congress, Barack Obama isn't giving these speeches. Barack Obama isn't breaking the norms of history when it comes to what former presidents do. The fact that he is proves that they aren't as confident as they're letting on in the mainstream press.
That's absolutely right, folks. We're up against the break. We will be right back.
This is a moment in history that will look back that either the Republican Party became dominant for a generation or the Republican Party died. I'm telling you, it is that serious. And for those of you who are saying it must be perfect, it must be, I will look at you. If they don't get this done because it must be work, I will look at you in 2018 when will you lose, and I will put my finger at you and I say, this is on you. You did this. We had a chance to MAGA. We had a chance to win America back. We had a chance to support our President Donald Trump, and you stood against him. You stood with the Democrats, and you made us lose, and you destroyed this country. And you can go to hell as far as I'm concerned.
Aloha and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed our first segment. That is down and in the can. What do you got for us next, Boogie?
Well, something a bit interesting here that I'm going to need you to expand upon. We don't normally do this, refer to each other's shows and periscopes and whatnot, but one of your periscopes the other day, the anger levels were cranked up just a touch, which is something that I don't normally see from James R., the owner and CEO of TAVshow.com, outside of the caricature that I've constructed for him on the starting block, in which he is a tyrant, a kind of tyrant that would put Donald Trump to shame. But nonetheless, you were talking about Google and the Senate hearings, James, and perhaps this video that was leaked by the far-right extremist website known as Breitbart, James, which of course invalidates all of the information that they put on those websites anyway. But nonetheless, they released a video the other day, and it was like I know it's been talked about, but I just want to get your take on it. It was the executives of Google talking about how fearful they were, how traumatized they were about Donald Trump winning the election. Now, we know that it was reported widely during the election campaign. Things like when people put in stuff like Clinton body count, you got a body shop in some like little town in the Midwest somewhere, right? And all Donald Trump, all negative stories of Donald Trump were put to the top artificially. So we know this was happening. Various websites get deregistered and delisted and don't show up in search results anymore. So taking all that on board, and then we had, all the Democratic senators in the previous hearing saying that social media censorship of conservatives is it's a right-wing conspiracy theory. It doesn't happen. It's, what was it? A specious claim. Do you remember that from
specious, yep.
Senator Daskin or Congressman Daskin? It's all made up. It's all in your head. And we roll all this together. And then I came across this story the other day, and, my eyes twinkled as I read it, because I'm like, oh, of course, what a coincidence, right? Democrats dropping $21 million on Senate digital ads, largely targeting healthcare. The battle for the airwaves continues to heat up, this time with two Democratic groups announcing $21 million in digital advertising, targeting Senate races in 9 states, the 9 states which are obviously the closest. Senate Majority PAC and Priorities USA are joining together to spend almost $18 million on digital ads in Arizona, Florida, Indiana, Missouri, and North Dakota, while SMP will dump another $3 million into digital ads in Montana, Nevada, Tennessee, and West Virginia. It's a massive outlay of ad spending, coming one day after the top GOP Senate PAC announced more than $6 million in television, radio, and digital advertising. Is there a case here? Are the Democrats getting wise to these techniques of targeting social media now, do you think? Because they really did have their asses kicked in the presidential campaign when it came to targeting social media. Of course, it's well documented Donald Trump's team really went after Facebook and Twitter like no one has ever done before, and they embarrassed the Democrats to a large extent. So far this cycle, SMP has been the top outside spender of either party on ads. It's spent almost $40 million through Wednesday, according to data from Advertising Analytics, and has more advertising dollars booked from now through Election Day than any other outside group. James, what's happening?
Well, they're fighting for their lives. We've been talking about it, and this is why you saw the James R. anger come out a little bit. Was that I want to make the points. I want our people, anyone that ever sees my videos, to understand we win, and we are going to win, and our winning issues are the previous administration was corrupt. That's it. We don't need any other issues. But what do the Dems need? A whole lot of issues. The Dems need everything. I mean, they're literally, crapping in their hands and throwing it at the wall and seeing whatever sticks. That's what they're going with. And so what are they going to fight with? They're going to fight with healthcare. They're going to fight with climate change. They're going to fight with all their little pet project issues that they think are winners, that they think that, no, it can't be. We didn't possibly lose over climate change. Yes, you did. We didn't possibly lose over healthcare. Yes, you did. We didn't possibly lose over immigration. Yes, you did. So you see, those are all the issues they want to rehash. They want to refight the 2016 election. And I say, go ahead, please, because we are smarter than them. We won the first time around. We'll win the second time around. And we don't even have to fight those battles. The only battle we have to fight is you guys are corrupt pieces of crap and you're going to prison. That's the battle we need to have. And so that's why you see a little bit of that come out. And you ask the question, are they learning? I don't think so. Because here's the thing. Here's Meme School 101. You ready for Meme School 101? It has to be true and it has to be witty. Everything else doesn't matter. You could draw stick figures. You could write in crayon, but it has to be true and it has to be witty. That is winning meme strategy 101. Now you can make them pictures, postcards, you can make them videos, you can make them audio, you can write your own song, and you can sing, the Dems are idiots, and that will sell. That's how you meme. True, and it has to be witty.
It's funny, there was a story that came out, I believe, yesterday, James, about a new Facebook AI algorithm that's apparently going to fact-check memes. And we know, of course, who the fact-checkers are on platforms like Facebook, don't we? That's right. Your Snopes, right? Right. That's the unbiased, fair and balanced Snopes. So when you consider this, we tend to get lost in a vacuum and view things in isolation. But if you can take all of the revelations that we've, come across over the last sort of 2 years in regards to the way that these social media companies are operating. I don't think it's any surprise that, like, the Dems now, I remember during the last election, James, Republicans were complaining that they weren't allowed to advertise on Facebook. And, you know, their stuff was getting taken down for hate speech, right?
Yep.
So here you have, you know, barriers being put up in front of Republicans. Conservative websites are getting taken down, being slandered as quote unquote fake news. Or, you know, even the Declaration of Independence gets removed for hate speech now, right?
Yeah.
Memes are going to be quote unquote fact checked by people like Snopes. And when you roll all of that in together, then the Democrats have the audacity to come out. Oh, by the way, we're announcing a brand new social media advertising campaign, $21 million. What do you think, guys? Isn't it great? Because they've removed the competitors, right?
Yep.
So it's very socialist.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, man, I just lost my train of thought because I wanted to jump so fast about 30 seconds ago. You know what I mean? That's what happens when you do this way too much, is that the meme stuff, right, that they're trying to do. So here's something for you. I already tweeted out a whole new video meme that I just did. It's already going places. Everybody's retweeting it and liking it. So one of the people that happens to follow a friend of mine, Praying Medic, Dave, is an NBC contributor. Immediately, I'm telling you, within 5 minutes of me posting that meme, they already responded. See, these are the guys trying to go around the AI by blurring the text. See, they think they have us figured out. I'm telling you this. Let me teach you meme 102. Meme 102 is that we can fight with memes even if all we do is edit video, or even if we only use closed caption for the hearing impaired. I want to see the left shut down closed captioning for the hearing impaired. You understand? You just have to clip the videos of our politicians doing things, saying things. You could even close caption CNN. You can close caption Anderson Cooper. You can do everything to fight. They cannot shut us down no matter what you hear. Do not fear. We will win, because there are people much smarter than me that are going to be figuring this out, and we are going to win.
We have ways of making you meme, James. See, that's the thing. Just, you need to get more creative, and you need to think outside the box, right? Because again, the point of this stuff is demoralization.
That's right.
It's like, oh, the memes were very successful. By the way, you can't do memes anymore, guys. And they think that all of these people are just going to sit there and go, oh well, it was a fun couple of years. I guess it's over now, guys. I guess we're screwed. I will
make them burn their own platforms down by them having to not post videos. Okay, nobody can post any videos. Okay, nobody can post any audio. Okay, nobody can post any pictures. They will burn themselves down, and I will make them, because I will fight on every medium possible. If I have to hand draw in crayon pictures and take pictures to post.
Yeah, I mean, we knew this was coming. Why do you think they carried on so much about, do you remember the wrestling meme? Donald Trump beating up CNN?
Yeah.
And they said, oh, this is promoting violence against journalists. And everyone, even Democrats, were going, come on now. You know, come on, let's not be ridiculous here. But it's everything that they do is prepping the ground for the next move. And even when you get to the next move, that's prepping the ground for the next move. You know, I was reading a story today, James, that Facebook, in order to adhere to Chinese regulations, they're going to start linking posts with your phone number. So that way, everybody's on a database. So anything that you post anywhere on Twitter or Facebook or what have you will have your phone number attached. So that's the end of anonymity on the internet, right? When it comes to China. And it's you know, the things that they do in China is what they have planned for the rest of us. Make no mistake about it. The social credit score, for example, they were talking about that 3 weeks ago, right? Oh, it's about time we roll that into America too. So just remember, each little move that they make is always in preparation for the next move. And when you think ahead, you know, in a linear fashion like that, like James said, that's okay. We'll just find new ways to meme. You know, we'll start blurring the texts. We'll start creating video memes instead. Like, never, just try and stay ahead of the curve is what we're saying.
That's right. That's right. We are going to win. We're winning already. It is amazing. And I am so happy that I am alive at this time to fight this battle. I truly feel like I was born to be in these times. So we'll be right back. We're up against the break. We'll be right back with the hammering. I think we're on the hammering.
I hope.
Do you lie awake at night pondering life's big questions? Is there a God? What is the meaning of life? How would one do an hour-long sports show without ever actually talking about sport? If yes, we can help you answer 33% of these pressing questions. All you have to do is check out The Starting Block on tavshow.com, Periscope, Stream Me, or YouTube, Wednesday mornings at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also download the podcast on iTunes just by searching for The Starting Block in the store or at thestartingblock.podbean.com. Or if you're really desperate for answers, why not check us out on Twitter at The Starting Block, no K at the end, don't forget to drop that K. Enlightenment is now only a click away.
Now that is a freaking awesome commercial. Aloha and welcome back. And during the break, we set up a programming change. That's just in our theme, right? We've been screwing this up for what, weeks now. So we're just going to screw it up one more time. We got one more segment we're going to bring you. And then after this segment, for the bonus round, we're going to do the hammering. So stay with us. We like to move things on the fly. What you got for us, Boogie?
I've got more of those democratic norms, James, that the Democrat Party is protecting for all Americans into the future, protecting against Donald Trump. GOP Senator, hold off on Kavanaugh vote until accuser is heard. This is in the Washington Post, James. The White House on Sunday stood by Brett M. Kavanaugh. That's why Donald Trump grabs pussies. Of course they would stand by a sexual abuser, James, after a woman publicly accused him of sexual assault decades ago. Just on that, I have noticed other people picking up the thing that I was talking about 6 months ago in regards to this term credibly accused.
Right.
Now everybody say, he's been credibly accused. It's credibly accused. But credible as to whom? Like, as per what? What standard is the credibility here? Who has the credibility? Oh, well, I don't know. You just stick credibly in front of accused, and it's like a mind trick. Then it's like a Jedi mind trick. Then all of a sudden, everyone automatically assumes that the guy's guilty for some reason. An allegation that triggered the most concrete signs of yet a Republican resistance to President Trump's Supreme Court nominee. Now the Republicans are resisting. With the nomination suddenly in doubt, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Charles E. Grassley was working to arrange follow-up calls with Kavanaugh and Christine Blasey Ford, the woman who said he assaulted her when the two were in high school, James. Senator Jeff Flake from Arizona, meanwhile, became the first Republican to join Democrats in... What a surprise! What a shock that Flakey boy would be in there, urging for a delay in the committee vote until the panel had heard from Ford. The committee is scheduled to vote Thursday afternoon on Kavanaugh's nomination. It's been revealed in the last few hours, James, as we do this show, as we record it, that the girl apparently is involved with some kind of Democrat PAC. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that what you've heard?
Yes.
What a surprise, right?
What a surprise. Yeah, I saw that she not only is a lefty, but she's deleted her entire social media profiles to hide all of the lefty posts that she's done because she's that activist, and that she's attached to these activist people in a paid capacity, from what I'm hearing. Now, I could be wrong. And I've also heard that people that I think actually... I could be wrong about this too, because now that you read that and it sounded like you said that she was the accuser, but she wasn't actually the girl in the room, and the girl in the room has already come out and said, "What are you talking about? We were just playing around. Like, are you guys insane?" So this is literally high school drama that these idiots from the left, mainly Dianne Feinstein, you know, the one with the Chinese spy. Yeah, her, that she wants to try to spin the gin up just so that we can try anything to get to the election because they believe they just got to hang on just one more day, just one more week, just one more election. And somehow America is going to wake up and go right back into being the sheep that they want them to be.
Yeah, I mean, if the paid protesters didn't work, getting kicked out, if Cory Booker, I am Spartacus, if that didn't work, the brave Cory Booker, you know, going up against, you know, with his 300 merry men and a brave act of pure sacrifice for the cause, James, if that didn't work, then what are the odds? Like, the last minute, by the way, look what I found underneath this pile of paperwork. Why, it's a letter. Oh, who would have thunk it? You know, just out of the blue. I'm not sure that this is necessarily going to work either. I can see Jeff Flake going along with it, though, because he's not going to be there next election cycle. He doesn't care.
That's right.
He couldn't care less. But, you know, it's just again showing how the Democrat Party are doing everything they can to uphold these democratic norms that they love so much and hold so dear, James. Here's another story from the known right-wing conspiracy website, The Hill. GOP senators condemn vulgar messages directed at Collins over Kavanaugh, James. GOP senators on Wednesday lashed out. Let me just mute that so it doesn't yell at us. Lashed out Wednesday at individuals who made vulgar calls to Senator Susan Collins in recent days, urging her to reject Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court. Senator Ted Cruz blamed the far left in a tweet for, quote, harassment campaign against the moderate Maine senator, calling the comments toward Collins and her staff truly shameful and an example of the desperation of the radicals to try and stop Kavanaugh's confirmation. So we can put that down into the "it that didn't work" column as well, you know, sending death threats to the Maine senator. By the way, I think we do have a couple of them here. If I can just get the video to come up. There you go. Let's have a little look at some of these phone calls and how they were reported on MSNBC, shall we?
Look at another Republican who's kind of in this very interesting position right now, necessarily because of the midterm, Susan Collins, right? We have new reporting from our team on Capitol Hill, Frank Thorpe, Leanne Caldwell, showing these abusive calls that she's gotten related to her vote on Brett Kavanaugh, this pressure campaign against her. I want to play you a little bit of the kinds of things that Collins is hearing about and getting. Watch.
If you care at all about women's choice, vote no on Kavanaugh. Don't be a dumb you also.
If you vote for him, you are standing there feckless woman, standing there letting Trump and his appointees steal healthcare from millions of Americans, steal the right to choose what women do with their bodies. Yep. And you stood by there. Oh, I didn't know. I'm so naive. You.
I will say, when you listen to those, and having been out on a campaign trail, it's the passion of people. It's obviously
it's passion. It's the passion of the people.
Abhorrent. But you also hear that they're talking about life and death issues. They're talking about women's rights to choose. They're talking about.
Oh yes, James, the passion of the people. Don't you love it?
Oh my God, I could actually visualize the norms. Spit. Yeah, I just could visualize both those guys just spitting, just foaming at the mouth.
Yeah. They're just protecting the democratic norms, James. It's the passion of the people to stand up. See, the thing I find interesting about that, here's a woman from Maine. There's a lot of Democrats in Maine, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yep.
So she's a quote-unquote moderate Republican, which to me suggests that because she's in a very blue state, that she needs to dance on the liberal side of some bigger issues from time to time in order to maintain her place as a Republican. And so when, you know, I did a little Periscope about this the other day, but we can expand on it here. When Republicans think that by placating, you know, the ideology and the agenda of the left, if they think that that's going to score them points with people on the left, this should be a clear example of how terrible thinking that is, what kind of terrible thinking that is. Because the left, this is wedge politics 101. We've done memeing 101, this is wedge 101. They don't give you a round of applause for standing up for their agenda. they see you as weak. They see you as a weakness to exploit against your own constituents, right? So if they can get this woman, and they will threaten, they will send death threats, they will raise $1 million for a competitor to run against it, they will do whatever it takes. They will get thrown out of confirmation hearings, they will concoct, sexual abuse stories from decades ago. They will do anything. They will run it in the media, and their media lackeys will carry water for them as they're doing it instead of, quote unquote, calling them out. But they will do whatever it takes to exert pressure on what they see as a weak link in the opposition, and that weak link, perceived or otherwise, on this occasion is Susan Collins. Now, I don't think it's going to work, but I think that's just an example of how, short-sighted it is if people in the future want to consider, well, maybe I'll just agree with the Democrats here and maybe they'll go easy on me in the press. Maybe their voters won't get angry at me if I just go along with them now. But clearly that doesn't work because they view you as weak, not as a friend.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there is absolutely no chance at all that these people will ever change their spots. There's just not. Wedging is what we've been talking about. This is what they're doing. This is why you saw, look, they will actually throw themselves under the bus to change the narrative. You will think it will look like this is so bad for them, but they will do it because it changes. Or they'll throw one of their own, someone that they don't really like, or someone that pissed off the wrong powerful Dem that always has enemies. Remember, in Washington, it's like they have a tally book. They're keeping tally. And so you think Stuart Smalley got kicked out of the Senate just because? No, they threw him to the wolves because they thought, you know what? He pissed me off here, he pissed me off here, and he had enough tally sheets with the Dems and enough tally sheets with the right that they said, you know what, we'll just throw Stuart Smalley right out of the Senate. And that's what happens. This is how the town works, and that's why we're there to change the culture of D.C. with the Trump administration. We are fighting side by side with them to clean up Washington, and this is a long fight. This is going to be a fight that lasts well beyond Trump's 25 years as being the president. This is going to go on for a very long time, and we have to be ready to fight that battle. We have to be smart. We have to budget our time and our anger wisely and understand that this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how much have people come to realize, what the new normal is. Like that's the name of today's show, The New Normal. Mm-hmm. And here we see, again, against this backdrop, against this manufactured reality that Donald Trump is the one destroying tradition, James. Donald Trump is the one attacking the norms of the American government, when in reality, it's the other side doing it to him because he's in. So it becomes then a balancing act, doesn't it? Like, how many people can they convince versus how many people can, be convinced of, the opposite? And, how that plays out. Again, I would say the fact that they're doing these things, the fact that they're going to these lengths, like they're officially setting fire to their own credibility and political capital right now. Like they are piling on all of the credibility that they've previously had and setting a torch to it in the hope that it singes Donald Trump's hair, right? And in the hope that they can inflict some kind of damage and just chip away. But do you think, honestly, now honesty time here. I know you want to be positive. I know you want to build it up. Is there a chance that some people can be convinced by this stuff at this point? Like more than you think? Do you have a blind spot?
No, I don't think I do have a blind spot. I understand that the fight is about the independents. I've been talking about this ad nauseum on every show I'm on my own Periscopes. I really don't think I have a blind spot. I think the independents, the 60% middle, is exactly where we win or lose every election. And I think that as long as Republicans stick to the program that, look, here's the evidence, they're traitors. Look, here's the evidence, they're criminals. Look, here's the evidence. As long as we stick to law and order, we win, hands down, easily in November. If the left is allowed to steal the narrative, and we're we get Ted Cruz and Jim Jordan and all these guys on CNN talking about gun rights and talking about abortion and talking about everything else under the sun except for these guys are criminals. These guys are traitors. Now you allow your enemy a weapon. It's like saying, you know, like in a weapons fight, right? I'm kicking your ass with this bow staff. So let me go ahead and put the bow staff down, and I'll go ahead and pick up a couple of wooden sticks and say, let's see if you can do better. What? That's just stupid. You keep kicking their ass. And as long as our Republicans don't get stupid, we're going to win. So I don't think I have a blind spot. You know what I mean? Get stupider.
There's a bit of talk in the chat, James, I want to address. Creepy porn lawyer for 2020. Any chance there, do you think? CPL, baby.
Oh my God.
2020.
That meme writes itself, though, I gotta say. But you know, this is the point, right? Is what are these guys doing? This is, again, more obfuscation. It's more redirect, right? They want to be able, they just want to be able to say the narrative. Oh man, see, Donald Trump was just afraid to face Cory Booker in 2020. That's why they're coming after me. Oh, look, he was just afraid to face Dianne Feinstein. Oh, look, this is what they want. Creepy porn lawyer? That guy couldn't win high school president, but he wants to try to throw his hat out there as a possible run because he thinks he can play the politics of the attacks against him. Oh, this is just because they fear me. And maybe raise a few funds. And I thought Tucker did a really good job of highlighting that the other night, that, hey, you're just making money off of this woman's back just like every other pimp and race hustler that's out there.
It's quite an eclectic bunch that they've collected for the next couple of elections, isn't it? You've got low IQ Maxine Waters. You're not welcome here. You've also got the doddering Nancy Pelosi. You've got the creepy porn lawyer in 2020. You've got I Am Spartacus Cory Booker. I mean, what a group. What a group, right? I think we should pay more respect to our opponents, James, and perhaps, you know, we shouldn't underwrite them because, you know, if Spartacus is on your team, then the numbers really don't mean anything, right?
Yep, folks, we're out of time. That is it. We'll be back with bonus time, and your bonus tonight is the hammering. Aloha. Aloha, folks, and welcome back. And now, without much further ado, here comes your favorite, the best segment we've ever created, the hammering.
Stop the hammering.
Well, in the honor of the new normal, James, in the honor of breaking with tradition, I'm going to break with tradition. I'm going to create a new normal. I'm going to preempt tonight's hammering, and I'm going to allow the quote-unquote Q-tards amongst us. I'm looking at you, James. Apparently, you're the biggest Q believer out there. So I've been told. But I'm going to allow you some liberty here to stroke your finely polished tinfoil hat, James, and hopefully reflect some alien beams or whatever the hell you do with it. So we're going to preempt this stuff, and I want you to run wild on this sucker. Donald Trump may stun America with shocking November surprise, James. This comes from the known right-wing conspiracy website, The Hill. Only 2 months away from the midterm elections, it is far-fetched to consider whether President Trump would try to invalidate the results if Democrats win the House. Yes, remember how the Democrats were really upset that Donald Trump wouldn't accept the election result? Isn't that lovely? Brace yourself. Armed with a gavel in one hand and subpoenas in the other, a House Democratic majority represents an existential threat to Trump's presidency. House Democrats will be able to look at his business dealings, his still secret tax returns, his financial relationships around the world, and whether he's using the White House to generate windfall profits for his private enterprises. Don't we know that he's lost about $1 billion since becoming president? It's like reality just doesn't matter anymore. So far, Trump has browbeaten members of his own administration for seeming to uphold the rule of law. he can threaten to fire Attorney General Jeff Sessions. By the way, Jeff Sessions, before he was confirmed, KKK, bigot, racist, must not get in. After he was confirmed and after Donald Trump said, yeah, you know what, I'm not really happy with Jeff's performance, he was the greatest guy on earth, butter wouldn't melt in his mouth, rainbows shoot out of his ass. But he can't fire a House Democratic majority. Or can he? Dun, dun, dun. Remember the third presidential debate of 2016 when Trump was asked about absolutely accepting the results of the election? His answer, what I'm saying is that I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense. So is there a big November surprise coming? Saw this the other day, James. House Intel Chairman Nunes plans to release interviews from committee's Russia probe. Dun, dun, dun. Let's play a little bit of this clip here, see what the good folks on CNN have got for us. Or maybe we won't. That's fine. That's fine.
Well, for months, Nunes have been demanding a very sensitive document from the Justice Department, a document that actually detailed the start of the Russia investigation. And Rod Rosen.
Oh, it's everything's working as it should. No problem there. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Representative Devin Nunes said Sunday that he intends to release all of the transcripts and documents from the committee's interviews of about 70 people in its investigation into Russian meddling in the 2016 election. Is this your November surprise? The California Republican said in an interview on Fox News Sunday Morning Futures that he would release the materials, quote, in the next few weeks so that the public could review them before the midterm elections. The depositions that we took, I believe about 70 people, those need to be published, and I think they need to be published before the election. I expect to make those available from our committee to the American public in the next few weeks. It's all very intriguing stuff, because there is talk, James, that the IC, right, the intelligence community, can't get involved in this stuff because it's too close to an election. And that would, of course, be what's the theme of tonight's show? Breaking democratic norms. But I guess since all of the democratic norms, like former presidents talking, about, electioneering and campaigning, that's now out the window. How about, the recent goings on with the Kavanaugh hearings? That's now out the window. How about all the leaking that's been going on from the Mueller probe and whatnot, and using the media to cite investigations and whatnot? Those democratic norms, that's now out the window. So I guess, maybe there's a new normal in town. I'm not sure. But with that, one Adam Schiff, James, he met the press the other day. You remember that sleepy son of a bitch, Chuck Todd? Went down and had a chat with the sleepy son of a bitch, Chuck Todd. Let's see what Shifty's got to say for himself.
Welcome back. Paul Manafort's guilty plea and agreement to cooperate with Robert Mueller gives the special counsel a witness of potentially enormous value. Manafort has countless connections that Mueller can
against Tony.
For instance, he can ask about the infamous Trump Tower meeting with a Russian lawyer who said she had dirt on Hillary Clinton. Why? Manafort was in the room where it happened.
Oh, dun, dun, dun. Remember, none of the things that Paul Manafort has been found guilty of actually relate to the campaign or Donald Trump in any way whatsoever. But, don't let the truth get in the way of a good yarn, James.
Then there's Russian oligarch Oleg Deripaska, who's very close to Vladimir Putin and to whom Manafort apparently offered private briefings once he joined the Trump campaign. There's Manafort's longtime Russian business partner, Konstantin Kilimnik, who's an alleged longtime Russian intelligence agent. And under Manafort's leadership, there's the Trump campaign's mysterious gutting of a Republican platform amendment to send lethal weapons to Ukrainians fighting Russian forces. And of course, there's Manafort's first business partner in politics, Roger Stone, who appears to have talked to WikiLeaks about hacked emails.
No. No, he didn't. They can't even get the fake news right. He was accused of talking to Guccifer about hacked emails, James, not WikiLeaks.
They can't even follow their own narrative.
No, and he actually spoke to them like after it was released. That was one of the things. But he did it publicly, like on Twitter. Hey, if I can get access to these emails, can you send them to me? I'd like to talk. Something like that. How dare he? How dare he do what any journalist does, right?
I can document on my Twitter feed that I said before Roger Stone that we were going to get the WikiLeaks dump. a lot of other people just like me did it. And the documented dates, it was maybe 2 days before Roger Stone even said anything. We all knew that WikiLeaks was going to do a drop, and we all stayed up to the wee hours of the morning. And what did we get? Julian Assange doing an ad interview for the WikiLeaks and please send me money. That's what we ended up with. And everybody was like, what the hell is this? We were expecting, the end of the world for the Democrats. Like, I mean, this is ridiculous, their narrative, but let them keep playing it because everybody knows it's ridiculous.
Well, it's going to get a lot better with Adam Schiff.
Mueller, Manafort connects a bunch of them. Joining me now is the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff of California.
This guy.
Congressman Schiff, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you.
So let's start with Mueller. Manafort's cooperating. If you have a chance to ask him questions, what are the first series of questions you want to know and you assume Mr. Mueller wants to?
Well, Manafort is at the confluence of a number of pernicious interests. You've got the president's son trying to get dirt from the Russians in Trump Tower. You've got the president himself asking the Russians for dirt on Hillary Clinton.
You have the president's son trying to get dirt from the Russians at Trump Tower. No, that's not what happened. You actually have the Russians saying that they have dirt and speaking with them and then not giving any dirt. So there was no dirt. This is the thing. There was no dirt. They lied. They said that they had dirt and then they didn't actually deliver anything. So what's the accusation here exactly? Oh, they had a meeting with somebody from Russia. Wait, that's the crime now? That's the crime. See, it's narrative building, right? It doesn't matter what the details are to these people.
A public statement. You've got Manafort trying to get money from this Russian oligarch, trying to get made whole.
Yes, it's very strange for career lobbyists, James, to get money from people, isn't it? Like, that's very odd.
You have the Russians who want to have a relationship with the Trump campaign. They want to help Trump get elected.
What? I beg your pardon? They want to help Trump get elected? See, but this is just a statement thrown out, right? Where's the evidence for that claim? Doesn't matter. You just keep rolling on. It's Meet the Press. That's why he's not being asked any serious questions.
All those interests converge with Paul Manafort. So basically, we want to know what can Manafort tell us about whether any of that was consummated. He's trying to get money. They're trying to get dirt. The Russians are trying to help Trump. Was there a meeting of the minds? So that goes to the heart of the collusion or conspiracy issue.
Is it possible?
So we're back on collusion again. There was a story that came out a few days ago, James. Lisa Page, who actually, it was in the known far-right conspiracy website known as The Hill, James, written by John Solomon. Lisa Page came out and said, actually, up until this point, we still don't know if there's any there. We still don't know if there's any collusion at all. Right? 9 months. So it's a confidence act. Oh no, the Russians were trying to help Donald Trump and he was getting money, and Donald Trump Jr. was trying to get dirt, but they know it's all garbage. They know it's all fake. But Adam Schiff is just using the press to do what he does best, right?
With all this circumstantial evidence, it really is just a bunch of coincidences that Paul Manafort, in a desperate move, Donald Trump was afraid of Ted Cruz at the convention, stealing the nomination. He's told to hire this Manafort guy, doesn't do the background check. And those Russian connections just happen to be coincidence. What's the likelihood of that based on your investigation?
No, because not everybody in the whole freaking world knew.
Say again?
That was just an amazing comment by sleepy-eyed son of a bitch Chuck Todd there. He literally said, didn't do the background check. Everybody in the country knew who Paul Manafort was before he got hired. Everybody. Like, what would you need a background check? You knew he was a slimy sleazeball lobbyist that was just hired to count delegates. Pretty simple to me. Hire the best sleazeball you can, just like a lawyer.
Yep. And good comment in the chat, James, from Bret Hart, a guy who does a lot of work on the Bill Browder stuff, says Bill Browder setting up the meeting. They wanted to expose Browder and he flipped the tables and gave Steele a pretext. There's more to come on the Bill Browder stuff. Did you notice after John McCain's passing that suddenly Bill Browder found himself in the news again? Who was the original champion of the Magnitsky Act being passed, James?
Yep.
John McCain, right?
That's right.
So there's more to come on that front.
A key person to help us unwind whether this is the most improbable string of unlikely coincidences or whether this was an active conspiracy. And
yes, there was an active conspiracy from you, dipshits.
Will Manafort.
If we're speaking about coincidences, there's a fair few coincidences occurring on the other side of the aisle, James, you'll be pleased to know. Like, for example, how about the woman working for Fusion GPS that was hired to dig up dirt on the Donald Trump campaign being married to a guy at the DOJ, and this document somehow finds its way going through the back channels of the DOJ to become quote-unquote evidence for a FISA court? Like, that's just a coincidence, right? Like, they weren't talking about this. They weren't talking about it at all. How's your day, honey? Wouldn't you like to know? No, I'm sorry. I've got to be professional here at the DOJ.
Cooperate? Will he tell Mueller all he knows, or will he tell Mueller only what he thinks Mueller already knows? And, you know, the reality is, I think only he can tell us.
The reality is, we don't go to Adam Schiff for reality.
You're a former prosecutor. Would you have cut this deal that Mueller cut?
Well, I wasn't in the room for the proffer, so I don't know what Manafort has to say.
Right.
But I do know this, and this is, I think, a couple of the profound implications of this.
Profound.
This sends a message to anyone who is in Bob Mueller's crosshairs right now. You better get to the special counsel and make your deal down, because anyone who gets indicted by Bob Mueller goes down.
Goes down. Like 14 days in jail for Papadopoulos, James. He's going down. He's doing a hard time for lying to the FBI. See, this is the other thing too. Like, oh, this proves that there was a massive conspiracy, a treasonous act, James. This proves that the Russians installed Donald Trump as their puppet. What proof do we have? Oh, they convicted George Papadopoulos for what? Lying to the FBI? Wait, shouldn't there be like a treason charge, or shouldn't there be some kind of conspiracy charge or something like that? No. He just got a date wrong when he talked about meeting a fellow named Joseph Mifsud. He said it was one day, and then when he was asked about it again later, he said it was a different day. So he gets 14 days in jail. If this was a big treasonous thing, and if George Papadopoulos was like at the center of it, remember he supposedly had conversations with Alexander Downer about the emails, James? Do you remember that?
Yep.
Where's the conspiracy charge?
Yeah.
Well, why isn't he going down? He's on CNN giving interviews about it, saying this is all garbage. Look, I didn't talk about the emails. Adam Schiff's like, you better get to Bob Mueller right now and own up to it.
And the longer you wait to come clean,
the
worse deal you're going to get, the more time you're going to face. So,
yep.
I think it obviated the need for these trials, which gives Mueller time to focus on other things. It gives him a key cooperating witness who has already seen what happens when you mess with Bob Mueller. I mean, he tried to essentially tamper with witnesses. He got caught. He went to jail. He better come clean.
Why did Bob Mueller send both the Papadopoulos case and Paul Manafort's case to a different court, James? Why did he refer Manafort's case to a different court? Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, nobody takes ownership of a shit case.
Exactly, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Schiff, is there going to be a November surprise, James? I'll let you wind this one up for us.
There is absolutely going to be an October surprise, and it's going to be, it's absolutely going to end with Adam Schiff's eyes about twice the size than they normally are. So, we know what's coming. We've been talking about it. It's all over the press. We see it, all these releases. I wanted to go back to that from you earlier, talking about the Nunes release. That's a big one. And remember the other day on MyScopes and on Boogies and on all of our shows that we do, we've been saying, this is why they're distracting you with hurricanes and volcanoes and abortion. They're distracting you from what's actually happening. So they can quietly drop these stories. House Intel Chairman Nunes plans to release interviews from the committee's Russia probe. Did anyone in this room hear about that story before this show? I'm willing to bet less than 1% of you, because
to be fair, James, to be fair, it is on the CNN website, so we shouldn't expect more than maybe 1 in 50 people to actually know about it, to be fair.
And that's my point. Why is this the only source? Because they want you distracted by the hurricane, by the volcano. The hurricane is going to kill everybody on the East Coast. It's the storm of your lifetime. Meantime, it turned into a Category 1. Meantime, yes, it was a bad storm, just like a lot of other bad storms we've had. It's called the Earth, and hurricanes exist, but they wanted you distracted by it from these types of stories. And we've been talking about, we told you, look, things are dropping right now in the news that nobody's talking about because they want it hidden. And you can't get people's attention when people are busy running around with their hair on fire over made up crap. And that's what they want. That's what they're hoping for. We're going to win. October surprise. November is not going to be a shocker to us. We're winning. The red is going to win. Red team all the way. I love you guys. That's about all the time we got. Boogie, final word?
Yes. In case you missed my tweet the other day, just want to congratulate the Democrats of South Carolina for finally experiencing a blue wave. It was a hurricane effort, and we wish you all the best.
Well, since Boogie has changed the hammering and gone to the new norm, I get to say, there's your hammering.
Stop the hammering.
Folks, that's all we got for you. Thanks for being here. Follow us all on Twitter. Follow us on... Oh, yeah, that reminds me. We have opened up a whole new Telegram chat room deliberately, separately, just for TAV Show. If you want to join that room, get a hold of Kimmy Jong-un. I think her real name is Y Censored on Twitter, but you guys know who I'm talking about. She's in the chat right now. Get a hold of Kimmy Jong-un. She will get you an invite link. We are in there. We are chatting. We are having a good time. Follow him at Boogie Bumper. Follow me at Real Person Politics. Aloha. Thanks for joining.